Konbanwa and welcome to this edition of Toukon Retsuden, the world of Japanese professional wrestling. With me as always is Mr. Daniel Edward Ginnetty, Esquire.
Hey everybody.
And I, of course, am the great Riki. And today we have for you a very special match. The show's going to be dominated by one match. It is the final match in the illustrious career of one of my very favorite wrestlers, certainly my favorite guy from All Japan, Mr. Kenta Kobashi. Dan?
May 11th, 2013. This is supposed to be the final burning, the final match of Kenta Kobashi. It's an 8-man match, and we can cover all of that as we go to the ring because it runs a long time.
So without any further ado, or gilding of the lily.
Yeah, gilding of the lily.
Let's take you to that matchup now. Wow, that's quite a team. Am I wrong, Dan? Or is it Kenta Kobashi, Kensuke Sasaki, Jun Akiyama, and Mr. Keiji Muto on one team?
That is correct. And on the other team are the losers.
You think?
It doesn't even matter what four are in there. When you've got those guys, Muto and Kobashi and Akiyama, and the other guy, it's just who's going to win that? Nobody. So in real life, it's Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Kenta, all capitalized Kenta, and it's Maybach Taniguchi, and Go Shiozaki. And they're facing again Sasaki, Muto, Akiyama, and Kobashi.
Yeah, and Kobashi, yeah.
It just, don't bet a lot on this match because it looks a little uneven.
It really does. Star power alone, it's ridiculous. But
I believe that, I think it was Taniguchi wasn't originally going to be in this match. It was going to be either Salvatore Bellomo or Pete Doherty, the Duke of Dorchester. But then
the Monkeys weren't available?
But then they were injured. The Monkeys are on tour, but it's in New Zealand right now.
I see.
So instead they had to have somebody who had a slightly less chance of winning the match, and that became Maybach Taniguchi. So we're going to show you the whole intros because, well, this is really the last time you get to see the full-blown intros of Kobashi since it's his last match.
Now, most times when a guy retires, the concept that it's his retirement or it's his final match is somewhat less than set in concrete, shall we say.
Yeah, less legitimate. Usually a wrestler's retirement is more because of money, because of maybe some personal stuff, or maybe just them being burnt out. And then a year or two later, when they've had time to refresh, maybe heal up a little bit, they can change their style around maybe, and next thing you know, they're back in the ring fighting. And there are plenty of wrestlers who've retired multiple times, but Kobashi has been injured so often over the last 5 or 6 years. He has spent so little time in the ring, there was just really no point even pretending that you could continue to have a full-time career or even a part-time career.
Yeah, I know we've spoken recently about a couple things. The fact that in the last 5 or 6 years he probably hasn't had 100 total matches.
I don't see how it could be.
And in the last 2 or 3, only about a match a year, right? Something along that line.
Yeah, he was in the All Together shows in 2011 and 12, the ones after the Fukushima. I think there's Go Shiozaki, who is now in All Japan as part of the Burning Invasion team with him and Akiyama and Kotaro Suzuki, I think Atsushi Aoki, and maybe one other guy.
Back when he was even, if you remember, he had that long gap where he was off for about a year and he had both knees scoped and scoped. Yeah, both arms worked on. I mean, he was just a mess. At that point, they were saying that they were virtually helping him with crutches and beyond that into cars to get in and out of there, and then he'd come in, probably get shot up with cortisone or something, whatever, do the matches, and he had some great ones even at that point, which is remarkable. But the toll that it's taken on his body has been remarkable. I mean, he's not a small guy, for one thing. Always been thick, has been doing things that big, thick guys don't do for a long time and stay healthy.
Yeah, he's heavy with bad knees. He's a heavyweight with bad knees, so you can pretty much write the rest of the story there.
Boy, half this team is heavyweights with bad knees.
That's true. Well, half this team is guys who have already almost retired themselves.
Yep.
There's Taniguchi with, brought to you by the letter Y, apparently. Okay, here we go. Who else are we waiting on?
I think that's their team, isn't it?
Think that's all four? Yeah, Taniguchi bailed. So who's going to get the intro first? Sasaki?
Either Akiyama,
Yep,
Akiyama or
Sasaki.
Yep.
Take the dream. Kensuke Sasaki originally debuted for, I believe, Japan Pro Wrestling, which was Choshu's offshoot promotion that was feuding with All Japan at the time, but wrestled in All Japan realistically from, I want to say 86 to 87 when Choshu jumped back. So I guess he's got a tie to All Japan.
Did he eventually move over there and then capture the Triple Crown?
Oh, maybe.
I know he had that great match with Kobashi that was the Chop Fest.
Chop Fest 2005, July 18th, at the Dome Show. He may have held the Triple Crown. The phrase losing its luster is where I'm at with the Triple Crown now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, it was...
I'm not sure it's as bad as the WCW belt being held by David Arquette.
Thank you. I was just going to make a David Arquette reference. You took care of that for me, so thanks for the
But Kensuke
backup.
Sasaki, basically his mentor for the most part, and the guy who kept him in the business for a while there was Riki Choshu. And he's done pretty well. He's an okay worker, not good, never good, but very convincing, sort of.
He had kind of he got more interesting to me in 2004 when he went indie solo, like a free wrestler. And he had some really funny matches, like his...
And there is the guy who matters the most, by the way.
Yeah.
The one and only Keiji Muto.
The one who's not retiring after the end of this match. Even though he's been wrestling since 1984.
Yep, first match was against Masahiro Chono, who is retired.
Yes.
More or less.
Have you seen him?
No.
They have a Three Musketeers DVD box set coming out, I believe, later this month. And they have a video promoting it. And it has, obviously, Muto and what appears to be the ghost of Chono in it.
Oh, really?
He has lost weight, and he was never that big to begin with.
Nope. I gotta think Jun Akiyama's next.
I would have already bought it, but they refused to put any match listings on it, and I'm not gonna make that kind of a purchase without knowing what the heck's on it.
Geez, you won't even make a purchase of an Inoki box set when they tell you what matches are on it.
Someday, maybe for Christmas, they dropped the price on Amazon down to about $420 from the original price of $1,000.
What was it, 25 discs?
30? No, 20 discs, 60 hours.
Wow.
Including the real 2 hour, 5 minute, 14-second version of the Island Deathmatch.
We have to get that, Dan. I'll go halvesies with you. We need to be able to do that match in its entirety as a special. There is Jun Akiyama, no longer in blue.
Yep. It comes with a t-shirt, too, that won't fit anybody that I know.
You need none of your kids even?
I wouldn't let them wear it. Maybe the boy. You know, speaking of Captain America, my wife picked up a sweatshirt. That's a Captain America sweatshirt. So it's got all the stars and the stripes on it. And when you zip it up, the hood is extended. So if you pull the hood over, it's got the eye holes and it looks like Captain
That's
America
awesome.
with the A and on the sides of the wings. Oh, it is the funniest thing in the world.
And there he is, the man of the night, Kenta Kobashi. And by the way, Dan, he looks horrible.
Yeah, he's already limping.
Already limping, barely walking almost. And look at, he's got industrial knee braces and pads and everything on there.
Yeah. And he's got his mouth thing in it, looks like, too. He's playing with his teeth, so I think he's got one of those guards, mouth guards. So this is it. 1988, I think it was January 2nd he debuted, and this is 25 years later, and he's saying goodbye. But a storied career. He, as far as big matches are concerned, what did Akiyama bail? What happened? Who's
No,
that?
I think they're actually showing build-up before he actually had even come out.
Oh, I
before those guys
apologize.
had come
Well,
out.
I wasn't aware of this, but it's all good stuff anyway because we're talking over it.
That's right.
So this is more prep. He's just envisioning how this is going to go. Taui has a scheduled retirement match later this year. Kawada has already long since gone. We know where Misawa is. We know where Jumbo is. We know where Baba is. There is no single star other than Tenryu, who, if you watch, it's the third Indiana Jones movie. If you watch, there's a scene where after he feeds him the water and he throws the thing away, Tenryu is like there gobbling up a little bit of it. So now he's immortal. I figured out why at 88 years old, Tenryu is still wrestling.
And still pretty good. Still pretty convincing when last
Better than he deserved, better than he should be.
Yep. Yeah, because Tenryu started when?
1977, but he was 26 years old when he did it.
Yeah, so
he had a successful, or at least a relatively long sumo career. I think 10-year sumo career before he bailed on sumo. He is not a child.
53 years old now. Something in that range, right?
52?
52,
No, I think he's in his 60s.
Yeah,
Because
you're right.
if he was 26 in 77, then that makes him 1951. So he's 62?
Wow. I lost 10 years there somewhere, Dan.
Yeah.
And there
Not hard to do.
Kenta Kobashi, and I'll tell you, Dan, for me, his matches with Misawa are some of the best matches that pro wrestling has ever had, and even some of his matches with Kawada.
Yep, and we're going to cover lots of them because they came out with yet another Kobashi box set that I got from Japan.
Keiji Muto's holding the ring ropes open for him. That must mean you matter. Hey, you know what? Supposedly, Kenta Kobashi's 6'2", which makes Keiji Muto 7'1" or something.
And I think he makes the Road Warriors 8.5 feet tall, because it was the Road Warriors that first turned Kobashi on to steroids. And he said the biggest advantage was that, because he was watching the Road Warriors back in the 80s and couldn't understand how they could lift heavy every single day, day after day after day. And he showed, the Road Warriors showed him how to cycle on and off of steroids that would allow you to train every day. And he credits his body and his physical development to the Road Warriors. And that's loser number one.
And there's Yoshinobu Kanemaru,
who may or may not be the current global honored crown junior champion. He's left the promotion. He's in better shape now, lost a lot of weight. He's the guy that they kept thinking was going to be the next big thing in Noah, but it just never happened. And that's your global honored crown champion for Noah. Yes, that guy.
He's the 19th champion. Is that possible?
Sure.
And there he is.
Let me see if it says when he won it back.
230-ish pounds, 233-ish pounds. And there's Muto KG.
And that's going to be 240.
He added a syllable in there.
I know. J-oon.
Wow. And it's going to take us another 30 minutes to start the match.
We have 30 more minutes to talk as they get rid of streamers.
Now, what belt is Kobashi wearing there? Some like honorary?
Let's see. Maybe it's the original Global Honor Crown belt. See if we can get a look. Or they may have awarded him a belt. There's a ceremony in the middle of the show. That may be the original. That they had a big ceremony for him, a retirement ceremony. People came up, shook his hand, gave him presents and stuff. Noah may have presented to him with the original belt as a gift.
Of course, the other factor was we talked about the steroid use, which I'm surprised any wrestlers have ever used them. But the other factor beyond helping them train the way it does is it allows them recovery, so that the beating that they're taking will not be as bad as it could be. You know what I mean? So you can recover from it and go back to, particularly in the days where they were doing 300 shows a year, that's a lot of work, even in tag matches.
Or even 200 shows a year. You can kind of hide when you're injured or hurting in a 6-man tag from time to time, but it will catch up to you when you don't have sufficient time to fully recover.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know in the decade before he finally passed from an injury in the ring, Misawa stood on the apron looking like he was knocking at death's door that entire time.
Yeah, he always seemed to be in bad shape.
So So who gets to get beat up first is really what the question is.
I would think if it's against Kenta Kobashi, then it should be Kenta himself, who is kind of an understudy to him. And you're looking at the
Yep, sure enough, it's Kenta.
There we go. And they've had a match, they've had a singles match before as Kenta was trying to establish himself as a heavyweight, where I believe he got crushed, but, you know.
But it's against Kobashi, so...
Yeah, if you look good against Kobashi, I think you look good against Kobashi, and that's a big deal.
He really can't move.
No. Well, before this, when the heck was it? July 1st, 2012, they had an All Japan, New Japan, like a joint show, maybe Noah as well. He was in that with a tag match with Muto, and he looked pretty not great there. He was in the 2 All Together shows, which are the benefit shows, and this show here. So I believe that's 4 matches, and that might be the only 4 matches he's had in the last 3 years.
Yep. A little bit of a size advantage here, though.
Just slight. And even in his diminished state, I guarantee you he's stronger.
Yep.
Let me see if it has it. Yeah, I'm not finding what I want.
Oh! Kenta slaps it.
See, the thing is, how many...
The beatings will ensue until morale improves after that move.
But how many times do you get a chance to slap him across the face? So everything here is like, this is your last chance at me. So throw the kitchen sink. Otherwise, you're just going to regret it going, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. Knowing that it's his final match.
He's 46 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ouch. This actually puts over Kenta further, even if he's already...
Oh, sure. The fact that he can survive it at all.
Yep. And plus, I mean, just be able to be there with him at this point. Oh.
So this is kind of a greatest hits album for Kobashi. You know he's going to give us everything, all his big moves. Oh, forget it. And this is a good time for Kobashi to step out and let the other guys work.
I'm just hoping we get a moonsault out of this, Dan.
Well, we'll have to wait for that.
Maybe for
tag out to somebody. There you go. Akiyama Ju-un. Now that we know he's purchased an additional syllable to his name.
And apparently a good deal of cranium.
Yeah, it's like his brain is growing. And even in the enlarged sized brain, none of it contains more wrestling knowledge, which is a shame. But he is not 31 years old. Oh, Go Shiozaki is 31.
Go Shiozaki's 31.
So
and one of the youngsters.
He's still technically young enough to make something out of this guy.
Because he's going to be bigger than 100.
Yeah, where Jun Akiyama is 21, I think he's 43.
Could be. Sounds about right.
Shiozaki.
The other factor with an 8-man tag or a 6-man tag is it becomes a greatest hits match for everyone involved, particularly for the people who matter. You're going to get to see, there you go, Dan, 33.
43. Yeah.
43, rather. Yeah. You're going to get to see the moves that matter for them. They're going to put together basically a highlight reel, if you will.
And I'm not opposed to it because this is more of a spectacle show, not a who's going to be the next Triple Crown champ.
That's right. Talk about a guy who got a big push and never really managed to matter as much as they thought he was going to.
Oh my goodness. And it was sad to see people fawning over him saying, oh, his match against Kawada was the greatest thing ever. And it's like, you ever think that Kawada might have had something to do with that?
I mean, I don't have as negative feelings about Kensuke Sasaki as many do.
Yeah.
But he's never been one of my favorites by any stretch of imagination. What he is, basically, is if you took away a lot of the skill and the size from Kobashi, he's a lot like Kobashi with maybe a tiny bit more charisma and a lot less skill. in size. So
yeah, quite a few inches in height. Maybe not so much poundage,
not
but
even
it
really
doesn't
moves
matter.
that either when you get right down
Oh,
to it.
you kidding? Forget it. Kobashi, I mean, they played Sasaki as a 5'8" power guy.
Yep.
So even, you know,
And 5'8" might be an exaggeration.
yeah, best case scenario, you have a limited palette from which to paint this painting.
He's wide as a truck.
No, there's no doubt he's strong, but he's small.
Yeah, but he's not anywhere near as tall as I am.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm 5'9".
That's the problem, is that you can be super strong, but if you're only 200 pounds, then a moderately strong person is going to throw you around like a rag doll. No matter whether you can bench press a truck or not. If you're small, you're at a disadvantage. And that's why Kobashi had a different look to him than Masao and Kawada. He was big.
Yep. Well, look at this guy here against him. He's much bigger. And now look at the crowd pop.
Oh boy.
All he did was walk in and the crowd began to pop. Snap mares him over. Hey, flashing elbow, Dan?
Yep.
Could be. Bam! Lands the flashing elbow.
He's still fast. It's weird.
He's not natural and never has been. Leg whip there.
But his schedule has been reduced as
into
well.
an STF.
Anything where he can lie on the mat is good.
Yep.
And look at that. He looks like he's into it. Kobashi actually enjoys stuff like this.
This was in May.
May 11th.
Yeah, we saw another match from May in one of our recent shows. I think it must have been a very warm May. Because they were dying too. And I will tell you, Dan, when it gets hot in Tokyo, it gets hot. It gets sticky hot, nasty hot.
Oh, that's no good. I thought they were close enough to the water where you might have some kind of ocean breeze effect.
It may happen, but not inside the city in the closed areas, probably.
Yeah, it is a bit congested, I've heard.
And in comes the man of the hour, Kenta Kobashi, to beat up on this guy. And Dan, as you once said before, probably more than once, the beatings will ensue. Well, help me. The beatings will continue until morale
improves.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, and he's going to take a beating. It's Maybach Taniguchi. God only knows what they're going to do to this poor guy. Especially if Kenta sold like the devil for him, what's this guy going to do?
Yeah, and what exactly is a Maybach Taniguchi?
Oh, it's about what you see here.
Is he always that good?
No. It's probably the greatest match of it. Wait, okay, now it's the greatest match of his life. But I believe he's still wrestling for Noah. Let me check. He might be one of their big-time players. Let's check out
Broken up.
their big show here in front of 410 fans. Maybach Taniguchi, he beat Hajime Ohara in 11 minutes 52 seconds with the Maybach bomb, so he is still highly profiled in the third match of a Noah show that draws 400. So.
Chop to the chest, takes him down. Kobashi getting ready. Drops the chop right to the throat, goes for a cover.
2. That would be funny if that happened.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of upset people.
Maybach Taniguchi kicks out, and Kensuke Sasaki comes in.
Smile when you say that. Maybach.
Oh, it's chop time.
Oh, they're going to double chops. This will be good. Now what's happening? Oh, it's Ginnetty, isn't it? Back and forth. It's like Pong. That's what it's like.
The problem is, even when they land them, it's one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's why one's going for the back of the head. That's not really fair. Speaking of the back of the head, we'll get to a point where I can tell you what's been going on in Diamond Ring, which is Sasaki's offshoot promotion that's been supporting Noah for a while now.
Timber.
Down we go.
And Kobashi will get out of the ring to allow Sasaki to continue the beating. And he's getting warned by the ref. I'm betting he doesn't get disqualified here.
Oh, I'd do it if I was the ref. And then run for the hills.
Brainbuster suplex from Sasaki. Only a 1.5-2 count at best.
That would be funny.
He would.
That would be
he
funny,
brings
though.
Maybach Taniguchi over, and Jun Akiyama will continue the beating. The one thing I will say about Taniguchi is he is probably the 4th biggest guy in the match.
He is.
He's way bigger than Sasaki.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever been in a junior position, though. I think he's just been a masked guy who doesn't matter position.
But he's got that going for him then.
Let me see what match he was in on the card that only drew 127 people.
Suplex reversal by Taniguchi, which shows us what we're thinking of Akiyama in this match. I guess somebody's going to take the beating.
Yeah. Oh, Maybach Taniguchi was in the second match.
Is Kanemaru, and he's stomping at Akiyama. You can see concern on the face of Kobashi. Drop kick by Kanemaru, goes for a cover. Yeah, right.
That looks better from a TV point of view, but I would think I would prefer to deliver a drop kick straight on instead of at an angle where your feet are away from your body. I think you want to keep your body in line so the force goes straight into Akiyama. Of course, on TV it probably doesn't look as good because you don't get to see both people.
Oh, working the arm there and a little bit of the lower back. Trying to get in the hammerlock as now Akiyama is back in control. And in comes Muto. You can do an arm bar and it matters. It's whipping him around, holding onto the arm in a hammerlock is Muto. Keiji Muto is 50 years old. That makes sense.
Yep.
December 23rd, 1962.
Mm-hmm. And he debuted in late 1984, so he would have been 21 years old.
Yep.
That matches
Debuted
up.
again against Masahiro Chono. They might have had some history afterwards. I can't recall. Kenta Kobashi back in the ring, and bad time to be Yoshinobu's Kanemaru.
Much less Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
And look who's there. Yeah, he looks like he's lost weight.
Good sell.
Yep, but not a great drop kick, however.
Well, and also Kobashi has no knees left, so
Yep.
for him to be able to sell quickly or fluidly is difficult. All right, let's do choppy time.
Yeah, this is a bad choice for, well, just about anyone against him.
I like his chops. I think Shiozaki's chops are pretty good. I noticed that some of the chops used or forearms used by, was it Okada against Suzuki? It looked like they stopped before they got to Suzuki. So there was no follow through.
Right.
Just visually it looked like it had nothing
Yeah, you're
behind
pulling them off before they're really landing. Which I will at least say, if nothing else, Sasaki's good at that. Chops the arm, and that'll stop that exchange. Gets him into an abdominal stretch. Well, just for the record, this is a dramatic example of reflected light. See how much green is ending up on their skin from the light bouncing off the
Yeah, you
apron?
can see it, the shade of it underneath everything.
And here we go, round and round we go, and where we stop, it pretty much won't be the end of the match anyway.
No.
But in control completely at this point is Kenta Kobashi.
And he's still going. Again, back to the greatest hits theme. We're seeing everything from Kobashi that the fans have been paying for the last 25 years, and he is not going to leave these fans disappointed.
He may get the pin here, broken up by, well, everyone. You really look at, particularly when All Japan was at, if you want to call it, at least its competitive height.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, probably the end of the 90s. He was one of the key players, one of the big three at that point. Coming in with the lariat is Sasaki.
I think that might have been, I don't know, I won't call it an error, but the second Dome show, I'm trying to remember who Kobashi fought in the 1999 Dome show. The first one had to be Masawa Kawada because that's what had put them on the map in the 90s.
Yep.
But for Kawada not to be somewhere in the main event in the second one, unless they did a tag match, I'm trying to remember. If you remember and you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at thewrestlingscene@hotmail.com or go to our website, www.thewrestlingscene.com.
Please knock away the cobwebs and
Yes,
feel free to visit.
The email is still active, and the website, believe it or not, is still active. And it has a big Toukon Theater section with tons of our old shows you can watch streaming.
And soon enough, it'll have some of these new ones as well.
Well, that's awesome.
Well, I hope so.
I'd be happy just to get one of these on the channel.
Yeah, well, that'll happen.
Okay.
Let me tell you, Dan, we have people clamoring for our return. I have people actually who've been emailing me, and also some people that other people we know who have been looking for this show to be back on the air. I kid you not.
It's certainly by public demand that we are continuing the tradition of Exploder Suplex of Toukon Retsuden, the World of Japanese Professional
Just
Wrestling.
barely kicking out. That would have shocked everyone and made them unhappy as well, wouldn't it?
Now, as you've noticed, the new format is a 1-hour show. It's a little bit more limiting in what we can do, but it allows us to get more shows out so we don't have hiatuses that are extended.
Yes, and allows us to actually complete a show without being exhausted every time we even think about it.
But it doesn't mean we won't do specials on occasion. It's just not going to happen right now. And we've got all sorts of exciting stuff coming your way, including a series of shows that are dedicated to the G1 Climax from New Japan. I have, through sources in Japan, acquired the missing footage from the 1991 and 1992 G1 Climaxes. We now have, for the first time in 20-something years, the complete unedited tournament.
Unexpurgated?
Without the Ginnetty. And we'll be showing you those as time goes on, and just kind of offshoot of Toukon Retsuden, a series of specials. And we'll burn through those promotions because we know how much you enjoy the G1 Climax, the booking within the tournament. It's like the Champion Carnival in a way, except it matters.
It's about the difference. And another chop from Kobashi.
Now, I'm not sure the Champion Carnivals mattered in 20 years.
They mattered more, I think,
Or 15,
for the inside newsletter people.
Yeah.
The really small community and the super totally devoted All Japan fans in Japan as well. But that was all they cared about. But
up until the late 90s, it was where you were going to see if Kobashi was going to move ahead of Misawa. There was a pecking order. And the booking in the G1 Climax, the Champion Carnival, would tell you how things are changing. Which guys move up, which guys move down. But that's 15 years ago.
Yep. And the G1, on the other hand, while it could have had that significance to a bit, was usually more self-contained and was more its own story unto itself.
Yes.
And the people weren't really going to shift position that much within there. You may see one guy get elevated a bit, but he was probably already sort of mattering.
Mm-hmm. What they've done recently is that they've assigned like a Money in the Bank aspect to the G1 Climax, where the G1 Climax winner has the rights to a IWGP title match against the champion, which was inferred before, but now it's guaranteed.
Look at his chest.
Oh, double block.
Counter.
He's not going to get him. Oh, maybe he will get him. Watch out for the back elbow. Oh, he's got him.
He's going to get him now. Taking him over with the suplex. Beautiful. Wow, this would shock everyone too. No.
Ooh.
That would not only shock everyone, but that would move someone up the line some quick.
Absolutely.
And be hated by everyone at the same time. But
now Kobashi's going to get worked over by Kanemaru, it looks like.
Yep, and with a leg drop over the back of the head as well. Guillotining him basically on the top of that railing. Mm-hmm. And he has some corpuscles burst in his chest alone, Dan.
No doubt. Well, when you want to do use chops as your main offense, this is kind of the par for the course. It's what you're going to end up with.
We haven't had a chance to see what the other guys look like yet, but I'm betting that they don't look any better.
Yeah, they're not going to look much better, that's for sure.
Of course, the beating here also helps reinforce just how tough Kobashi is. Allows him to come back. Yep. And pretty stiff stuff there, too. Well, as I say that, they go to much weaker ones, but...
Yeah, you got to be really good to throw a kick like that and make it look good but not kill the guy.
Yep. Which is why, generally, in All Japan, at their height, they didn't worry so much about the kill that guy portion of the program.
And there was only one kicker guy anyway.
Yep.
It was one kicker guy who was very flexible and knew how to kick, and you saw very little kicks from the other guys.
Yeah, more a straight out boot to someone coming forward.
And this
but not
guy's
a lot
a
of
chop.
exchange.
You got the kick guy, you got the chop guy, you got the elbow guy, and then you have Towie.
The big guy.
Yeah.
And the one thing I would say about Towie that is almost irrefutable in my mind is, while he was not really ever all that good, he was better than Baba. But he didn't matter anywhere near as much. So,
Yep.
I mean, Baba wrestled up until just a couple months before his death in 1999, and for I'd like to say the last 10 years, but the reality is, well, for his career, he really couldn't do much, and it still mattered because he mattered.
Yes.
To a degree, at least.
When you're 6'6" or 6'8" in Japan, people are going to pay to see what you do, no matter what.
Yeah. Plus, he had the connection to Riki Dozan and that whole thing, so there was lineage there.
Not a
and tradition.
charisma factor, but more of a freak factor, and he certainly technically was a
sliding
decent
kick.
wrestler. It was just that, I could teach a 9-year-old to be a decent wrestler and do the right moves, but in the end, there's no visual credibility to what he does.
Yep.
And when you got a guy who weighs maybe 320 pounds, but has no strength, and isn't fast.
Yep. And when you say isn't fast,
Yes.
I believe stop motion photography was not required for Baba.
And we've got
Kenta
Kenta
going
and
after him
Kenta.
outside.
It's Kenta on Kenta crime out here, and it's a shame.
It's about time for Kobashi to get some offense back.
Hard to believe Kenta's only 32 years old. So he must have been
he's
20
been-
when they debuted, or
Yep.
9,
Yeah, I mean, I remember him being around basically since.
right at the very end of All Japan in 2000 when he came out, I think. Same with Morishima, although, Morishima's just celebrated, he's going to celebrate his 15th anniversary of not mattering. Yeah, I know, I'm impressed too.
15 years, this seems hard to believe that he kept a job that long.
15 years at never measuring up to anyone's expectations. That takes dedication to keep doing something you're not very good at that long.
Vaulting in with a backsplash onto Kobashi is that Kanemaru?
Yeah, Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I will say one thing though. He was fat.
Who?
Morishima.
Yeah, well, he had that going for him.
And then, no, that's really it. He was just fat. Poor guy. That, I believe, is Kenta Kobashi's fiance. At the show, he announces his intention to marry that girl, I think.
So, I mean, something's going right for him.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty
no,
girl.
he's retiring while he's still alive, which is better than Misawa.
That's true.
Better than Hashimoto. And he's in as bad a shape as Kobashi's in. Look at Chono. He could look like Chono. That's a mess.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like now that he's going to be off cycle all the time. And
I don't know. This guy, I don't think he lifted. I don't think Chono was ever a big gym guy. I think Kobashi
no,
was
but I mean,
always.
Kobashi's going to deflate now he's not working.
I don't know. Because he's always had a big build. He was always a heavyweight.
Yep.
There's some guys who lifted because they absolutely had to, and as soon as they didn't have to anymore, they stopped and they deflated. I think Kobashi likes lifting.
Mm-hmm.
He looks to me like a guy who likes going to the gym, and without the stress on his body over the last couple of years. Remember, this guy isn't wrestling regular here. He's had 6 months
That's
off,
true.
and 6 months off before that, and he still looks like this.
Again, he was never super cut body beautiful.
Never.
This is about what he looked like for the most part.
There
Maybe
was
a
a
little
time
tighter here and
he
there.
dropped a little bit of weight from one of his comebacks, maybe in 2006, but that was it. The rest of the time he looked like this, which was big and strong.
Now Kobashi is left alone in the ring as everyone's cleared out. And in comes Kaneguchi.
Oh, brought to you by the
With
letter
his
Y.
Y. Brought to you by the letter Y.
I don't even know what that. Where have I seen it? They have. Oh, I should have mentioned that. In Japan, they have the world's largest shuffleboard set up, and that may be where this came from.
I cry shenanigans, Mr. Ginnetty.
That may have been a lie. Although I wouldn't be surprised at all if they had the world's largest shuffleboard. Is that what it's called?
Shuffleboard?
Shuffleboard setup.
Fighting off, but pinning him in the corner now is Taniguchi.
I'm not sure what.
And now goes to the throat with it. You know, no good ever comes from allowing people to come to the ring with metallic letters or whatever.
I think they were still hedging their bets, saying, even with that, I think you're still going to lose, kid. So bring whatever you think you need to.
He's going to go for a choke slam and takes Kobashi down. Nicely executed.
Yeah,
I don't know what
guess.
the ref... Like he was deciding whether or not he was going to count and then said, I guess so,
Just
why
tell him,
not?
It says, your name is Maybach.
Yeah.
Just stop doing that.
Your name is a spelling error.
I think it's a car, a very expensive car, but...
And immediately the crowd cares again because Muto told them to.
Muto hits a turnbuckle, crowd goes wild. I think this explains lots of things.
Kenta really doing some damage to Kobashi now, but Kobashi's starting to come back, fighting it off. And now...
So they have to have Kobashi at 110 kilograms, maybe more.
More than that, I believe, yeah. I think he was at least 120.
That would make sense. That put him at 260. Uh-oh, someone's going for a ride.
Chops to the leg, go, oh, the half Nelson suplex. The elbow's trying to get him off, and he does. Lands a lariat. Now the half Nelson, he's going for the ride now, taking over.
Bailed out a little bit on his shoulder, but what are you going to do?
And in comes Jun Akiyama.
I mean, Jun.
Jun. I'm not calling that a jumping knee, Dan. I want to, but it was still on the ground, so. Exchanging forearms, so now he's exchanging whatever the other guy's move is.
With that big pumpkin, that headbutt's
Here
gonna
comes
hurt.
jumping knee! And fighting it off is Kenta with a boot right after having delivered on him. He's going to go to the top rope.
I don't like the looks of this.
Drop kick sends Akiyama down.
Meh. Oh, that was nice.
Boot to the face.
This one bodes poorly. Bonk.
Oh, good angle.
Was that like a jump?
Dives across with a lariat to take out Sasaki.
Oh yeah, Sasaki's in this match.
He's about where he belongs right now.
Yeah, I've forgotten entirely about him. And I don't feel guilty at all.
He could have been on the other team and I would have forgotten about him as well. Rolling through it, missing the kick, taking the lariat.
He
That
was like
a little...
1/10 of a second behind that,
Yep.
looking really good.
That's right, exactly.
This isn't...
Sliding
just-
kick to the knee,
just
sliding
stop
kick
it.
to the knee.
Stop it. It's...
Dragon screw, leg whip, taking it. I guess this could be a figure four. What do you think,
Figure
Dan?
four.
And it's applied. Mid-ring with Muto really wrenching back to get it. It will get broken up, I believe. Nope, everyone was held out.
It's going to be all four of them with variations of submission moves, I bet. Where's that funny crank that Saki's got? What's he doing? Yeah, he's doing
There
his
you go,
power
yep.
strangle.
Which is just funny to say if you do the, like the Japan English of it. Power strangle.
What's the other guy doing? Sleeper? That's
Yep.
Maybach. Who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's easier just like say just point outside the ring. Go.
Yeah,
Get out of
Maybach,
here.
just leave.
Go.
Go hang out outside the ring with Sasaki.
Out of my sight. Oh man! Did you hear that? It sounded like it popped him right in
Dragon
the
screw
jaw.
leg whip again, takes him around. Oh, fighting back. Kenta's getting quite a little bit of a push here.
He is. He's
Getting a lot of offense on these guys. Which makes sense. If he's going to be a heavyweight champion, you better let him look good, even in this. Going for the suplex. This doesn't look good.
Oh, he might get him. Good for him.
Nope. Nope. Not going to work.
That was a nice punch from under.
Rolling underneath, coming up, drop kick sends him down.
That may be the best way to see all of Muto's drop kicks.
Yeah.
Is that he's delivering from the backside, so you can't see if it makes contact.
Sasaki comes up. Whoa. Wow.
Nice job.
That was kind of cool.
Yep, that's Go Shiozaki. That's all him on that.
And face plants him down with a bulldog.
Good sell to recover. There's stuff with Shiozaki that you think will work, he got a little heavy, but this body style works really well for him. I just don't know this is brutal. Ow. Oh, hey now.
Yeah, he's just whacking him pretty hard.
The back of the head, you can hurt people.
Yeah, I know, he's stiff and he's been going to the back of the head a lot.
Would know better.
You would think at this stage, particularly with some of his history, but...
Oh, I still haven't told you about Diamond Ring. You've got some of the former rookies.
Oh, there goes one of those arm whips.
Members of Diamond Ring who quit and said that this guy's just... He hurts people too much in training.
Well, if you remember way back when, that was a big deal with... yeah, and even beyond that, there was the kid who he killed in the dojo that had the huge problem with Hiroshi Hase.
Yeah, I can't remember how that went.
Well, it was a big problem with Hase and Choshu because of it. Shoulder block sends him down, so no more Maybach.
I think that grazed him on the ear at least. That one did not.
Duck underneath the lariat.
Suplex. He isn't really that heavy. You should be able to handle it.
Low center of gravity, though.
I don't know if this is where you want to be.
The problem I see here with the offense of the heel team here, or what we were going to euphemistically call the losing team, is they keep wanting to exchange with the moves the other guys apply.
But maybe that's part of them moving up the ladder. None of these guys are high-profile guys.
No, and nor
Would Kenta be a champion in any other promotion other than Noah?
No.
I believe the answer is no. So, you know, these guys are on the rise or trying to make a name for themselves. What better way to do it than to try to meet these, quote, legends that with their own offense?
Maybe 2.5 legends, don't you think? I'm not sure how much Akiyama. I think Akiyama and Sasaki maybe are worth maybe a quarter each.
I say that there's a drop off.
Yeah.
After Muto and Kobashi, and one of them has sold out dome shows.
Yeah.
And the other is not. So being perfectly honest, we know which one matters more.
Oh, yeah, no question. Well, it's the New Japan, All Japan thing, really.
Yeah.
Again, and then it's just Muto because Muto may matter more than just about anyone this side of Inoki and maybe Hashimoto, but I think he matters even more than Hashimoto.
When he was in Florida with Dick Slater, they took him to a doctor to drain one of his knees. It was disgusting.
No, I didn't see that.
They're draining
like
a bunch of fluid from one of his knees because he was favoring that knee because he had just had surgery on the other. It was, and this is back in more than 20 years ago.
Shiozaki is showing his toughness though here. Oh, blocked it with a big lariat to the arm by Sasaki, ducking underneath. Lariat to Sasaki, and you will lose. Wow, that's actually a good show for him.
They lifted him up and carried him, but he wouldn't put him down.
And that moved him not at all.
I don't think he's going to make it through this one. Oh, good for him.
Oh, barely got him over.
So
Thanks for the help, Sasaki.
Yeah, he's gotten German suplexes on Kobashi and Sasaki so far.
Yep.
So I believe there's one guy, nice teeth. There's one guy that, well, what am I supposed to say? This is on widescreen TV. Those teeth were huge and frightening. But they've kind of put him over both of those guys so far.
Yep.
Oh, poor Maybach, who is taller than this guy, by the way.
Yep.
And possibly the same weight.
Yeah, very likely. Going for the cover on Sasaki. We need to page Maybach and Sasaki and tell them they need to be somewhere else.
Oh, he's going to try to choke slam again.
Well, he got it on Kobashi, so one would think he would be able to apply it to Sasaki, although I will say that Sasaki is not the most helpful guy.
No, did you notice that too?
Yeah. Takes him down with a lariat, though.
Uh-oh, this could be it. I see the two leaders of the face team consulting. I think they might want to wrap this up. And they're conferring, saying, are you ready? I'll cover you. Uh-oh, in the corner chops. This could be.
Here comes the spin.
Uh-oh, extra powerful chops coming. Boom. It's so tough when you're in the corner like that. How do you sell the move? Where are you supposed to move to?
Yeah.
You're in the corner.
You're hoping it's loud enough that that's the sell.
If you come out of the corner by a couple inches after each one, maybe then, but then you're bouncing around.
Yeah, they're coming too rapid to be able to do that.
It's a tough position to be in.
Here's the one you can sell if he does the turn.
And Kobashi looks like he's running out of... Oh, no, he's not running out of gas. He's following through.
Oh,
Nelly. Another one? Oh, that was more of an elbow, less of a chop.
Yep. That's about the only way you can sell it too, and you can't sell rapid ones that way.
No.
You're right. Once you're in the corner, there's really no way to make it look good.
Body slam.
Pile driver.
Powerbomb. Excuse me. Oh, dear. No powerbomb yet.
Yeah, they have a good crowd.
How do you not get a powerbomb on? Oh my God! Back body drop by Maybach Taniguchi. Now this is the greatest match of his career.
And a boot takes him down. And in comes Yoshinobu Kanemaru, a man who doesn't matter.
No, he
well, there's a lot of
this man.
Yeah, sort of. You know, he reminds me of...
He was at least the third or fourth best junior in a division that didn't do very well.
Yeah, that's true.
So don't take that away from him. Missile drop kick from the top rope. Poke to the eyes by Shiozaki. At least he's getting some action here.
He reminds me in some ways of... who is the junior that had pictures of someone in New Japan and that's how he won the title? No, not Takaiwa. Takaiwa actually at least was tough. It was earlier than that. Norio Hanaga.
Oh my God.
He reminds me a bit of Norio Hanaga with a nice body press though and broken up by Sasaki and Akiyama.
Aww.
And someone's all worked up.
I know.
Oh,
I don't like Maybach Taniguchi much either, kid. Imagine. I paid for a ticket for this. Maybach's been in for like
that kid is
25 minutes of the 40-minute match so far.
Okay, does Kanemaru really think that makes sense?
Oh, Shiozaki's going to try to pull something off. Oh, I believe he did.
Great sell, by the way, also by Kobashi.
Now that move's a little easier to sell than a drop.
It certainly is, yep.
Wow, he laid out Kobashi.
Who again has shown his professionalism throughout this match in a way that Sasaki has not. Up and over with a beautiful brain buster. Just kicking out his Kobashi. That would have been an upset of epic proportion. Oh, that's not going to happen.
Uh-oh. Well, if Kobashi gets a hold of him, this is not going to end well for Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
He's suplexing him in.
Superplex. Good luck, everybody.
Things not to do when you're 46. Oh, taking him over.
Good. That was nice.
Pretty well done, yep. But again, just a level.
Shining Wizard time.
There it is. Nice sell by Kanemaru.
No, he said you finish him off. He's motioning for Kenta Kobashi to finish off.
You know what
Kanemaru.
I want, Dan?
We want a body slam is what we want here.
No,
we don't need the Larry. We need the body slam.
That's what I wanted.
That was
the
a
360 on it. He's kicking out of that, I think.
2. Oh, they broke it up. And now they're pummeling him.
Well, Muto raced over to help.
Dragon Screw leg whip, a little late sell. And
Maybach
Taniguchi almost kills him. Good job.
Yep.
That was a low angle German suplex, but now the crowd's
From
clear.
Mr. Low Angle himself.
Muto, you want it?
Oh,
no.
are they going to both do it? Can he get that far across the ring nowadays?
Wow.
That's a ways out. Muto Keiji!
Oh,
killed him. Now it's to him. All right.
This is it. Doesn't have a lot of fight left in him, as you might see. And there is.
He will not be going that far with this, by the way.
I won't go to that corner. Go to the other corner.
Yeah.
Smart guy. The last moonsault of Kenta Kobashi's career.
If he doesn't
right
kill himself
here,
getting up
right
there.
now, up and over.
Oh, nice moonsault, too.
One,
two, three. I love that, the way Sasaki and Muto counted with him. Your victors in what is a total shock. In what, Dan? 40-plus minutes?
39 minutes and something seconds. I don't know if it shows it here, but it was almost 40 minutes for Kenta Kobashi's final match. And there he is celebrating the end of an illustrious career.
Brilliant moonsault, too. His was much better than Muto's.
Yes, it was. It is better, but of course Muto left him more than halfway across the ring.
That is
crazy. Especially with those knees. You'd think he'd know better.
And he's had that flip moonsault for years now where he doesn't really get the full extension upward, but he has the distance because he's taller. And there are your victors in what was a pretty entertaining match for what it was.
That's right. It was a good send-off. We got to see all the big moves from Kenta Kobashi.
Including the moonsault, which was the question if he could still do one.
And apparently he could. Now he's celebrating with his compatriots in the ring. And there's Brainiac there. Your winner, Kenta Kobashi, former professional wrestler.
But there you go with the GHC belt. I guess, is that the original one?
Yeah, I think it's the first belt. He is the owner of it now. And he is your all-time GHC champion, Kenta Kobashi.
You know, it's good, as much as certainly he's not on top of his game here, it's good to see that he was able to have a send-off where he's going to leave the ring relatively healthy and be able to go on with a life afterwards. I'm sure he won't be away from the game completely because none of them ever are, and most of them aren't doing anything else when they're not wrestling. We hope you enjoyed it. The final match of the great Kenta Kobashi's career. There was his protege, Kenta. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week on Toukon Retsuden. Sayonara.
2月26日にスタートした小橋健太のプロレス道は日本武道館一つの終着点を迎えました。そしてあるいはノアを頼むぞとそういう思いがこの健太にはあったのかもしれません。そして塩崎とがっちり握手逆水平ラリアットで試合を通じて言葉を交わしました。そして小橋の最後のカバー最後のスリーカウントを小橋の下で